Oh man, got the black blood of creativity right here. Here we go. I'm your host, Daniel Crozier. This is COFOH Live and Undead, and I'm here with the amazingly talented Stephen Russell Black. But first, you have something on my face. Mr. Black, how are you?
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. I've been a fan of yours for several years now. Following you on Facebook and Instagram, and I have to say, your artwork is just it's absolutely engrossing. There's so much fluidity to it. It's spooky, and it sounds like you have a microwave going off.
Oh.
But Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Your kind of your upbringing and how you got into horror and art.
Yeah. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, where there's like very little to do but live in your head and kind of play video games and read comics and stuff. And I can pinpoint actually the when I got into like the horror art, like specifically is I used to ride my bike as a kid to it's like a mile to ride my bike to this used bookstore, and I picked up a copy of The Stand by Stephen King with illustrations by Bernie Wrightson, and ever since then I've just been in love with the idea of horrific things but like illustrated beautifully. And so that's what I'm always in the like my work is currently like is all in the search for is like these how to present, like if I can paint a severed head and your first like response is like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, like then I win.
That's awesome. That actually is that is my response to a lot of this. Oh man, let me bring you sent me this image of you working away. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I see what you mean.
Thanks.
Man. So you got into that, in your youth. So have you just always been doing that since then?
No, I mean I kind of got away from it like when I went to like art school and stuff. That stuff kind of like you kind of the exciting things like comics and things that you're excited about, like when they are training you in like your fundamentals and your figure drawing and things like that. It kind of fades away because you're so focused on like this academic study.
Right.
And I feel like it's only in the last 10 years that I still was always going to the comic shop and always like interested in comics and horror stuff, but that's just kind of the aesthetic I like. But it's only been in the last 10 years or so that I like went full in on like the creepy stuff.
Okay.
So when I graduated college, I was doing like book covers for kids and like all kinds of different like odd job, like art job things. So.
We're doing that, were you able to like change up your style? Did you have to make things obviously age appropriate doing the kids clothes?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see some of your your kids' work too.
Yeah, I actually took it was like my sophomore year of college. I took a trip to Chicago and put stuff around to like kids book art directors and stuff, and I got a few little jobs there and like whatever. But nothing really stuck to be a full time, and so the creepy stuff is what I love.
Yeah, you are absolutely brilliant at it. I love this one. This one seems to be well, it's not gruesome, but yeah, I always love the monster movies. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to be read there. It seems like a young kid, young boy, so maybe adolescence, and the whole monstrosity of going through puberty.
Yeah, that
But
piece is the first piece I got, like kind of when the pandemic happened. Like, so I was doing all these conventions and things,
yeah,
that shut down. So I hadn't done freelance stuff for a really long time. I was just
mhm.
kind of in my own fine art um, kind of cycle of doing my own drawings and paintings and then taking them to shows and selling those in prints and books and collections of the work. And I was in that cycle of making my own stuff over and over. But kind of when the pandemic happened, I didn't have that outlet anymore.
Mm.
So there really wasn't a feedback loop of like going to a show and interacting with people. So to kind of go down a different path when that happened, I started pursuing comic book covers, which is something I've always loved, but I hadn't. Initially, when you jump into that, it's not kind of the financially secure sort of a thing to do, and I was making more cash doing my own stuff. So I hadn't really gone for it. But since the conventions dried up, it seemed like the best thing is because I can still do covers. I can, it's still something I can be at home and make stuff and send it out. And so when that all kind of happened, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and jumping back into illustration was the thing that worked.
Right. That's cool. I think I remember you doing like a couple covers for IDW, some of their horror properties.
Yeah,
And then is that a piece? Is that a cover work too that you're working on behind you?
it is. That's also for Scout Comics, which is the previous piece that you showed was also for Scout.
Oh, cool.
Those guys are great. And this is for a book called Rabid World.
Nice.
The piece behind me. So it's like 70 to 80% done. I noodle the hell out of every little thing. So, I'll keep working on it until, I absolutely have to like varnish it and be done with it. But, I'm always picking at it. And I just love like, meticulous layers and layers and layers and all the texture and detail.
Nice. Yeah. What's your medium that you're working in? Is it oil?
All the paintings are oils. Yeah.
Wow, that is painstaking too. Well, are you adding mediums to make it dry fast?
I do two things to kind of be a deadline beater is I use an alkyd white, so
Mm,
it's a titanium white that already has like a little bit of dryer in it,
nice.
and then I use liquid, and I'm painting in pretty thin layers. So after about 3 to 4 hours, the painting's touch dry, and you can do another layer on top of it. So I would say if you paint in the morning, you kind of leave
Mhm.
it all day and come back to it in the afternoon. You could have two settings in the same day if you wanted to push it that much. But I only do 2 to 3 hours a day.
Nice. Wow. For as much work as see you post on your social media, it seems like you're constantly working.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm obsessed. I'm constantly working. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, in yeah, while you're painting, are you still turning out pieces that are just the illustration, the graphite, and the pastels?
Oh yeah. So I paint in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and then I draw in the afternoon and the evening. Like,
Cool.
I feel like painting's the hardest thing of that
Mhm.
I'll do in the course of the day. Drawing's like super second nature to me. Like breathing, I'm just like it's not always a struggle.
Yeah.
Um, but painting for me is it's not new, but it's fairly new for me as a finished technique. I was drawing like for so long, and I always wanted to make large scale paintings,
Yeah.
but the drawings just took off, and they were so easy, um, much more easy because you can just carry around a piece of paper. And I was drawing on the bus. I was drawing like at my day job. I was drawing like everywhere. It's like lower barrier to entry. You can kind of just carry around a sharpener, a pencil, and a piece of paper, and it's like
Yeah.
easy. The painting requires much more of you to sit there
Right.
and be engaged with it for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, I'm still drawing all the time. Just the painting I've kind of worked out as I do it in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
then no matter what happens the rest of the day, I've gotten my painting time in, and so I don't have that gnawing feeling of like I should be painting, I should be painting. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so that
Man, that's fantastic. It's nice to be able to switch back and forth. Having it seems like you have like 2 or 3 projects going on at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always have a couple of things going on at the same time, and it's nice with the oil paintings too because you can work on something, and then as you can tuck it aside, and then as it's drying, start on the next one, and you constantly have like a little rotation of like 3 or so pieces where one's on the easel I'm working on, and then I can quickly like throw it up on the shelf that's behind me there, and then while that's drying, you start working on another one, and then eventually you have one of those is finished, and you're varnishing that and starting a completely new piece, and it's kind of like 3 pieces or so is like a comfortable mix to kind of have in the production schedule at all times.
As you're wrapping up projects too, with juggling all those, I always love as an illustrator too, having that small sense of accomplishment, and then compels me right back to working on the next thing.
Yeah, it's really that kind of feedback loop of like for me for the comic covers is cool because the box of comics will come to my house, and so the piece I did a few months ago, I get to see printed on the cover because the company sends me a box of the comics that I've worked on, so I get to see it in print, and so like I see it like the piece I'm working on now won't come out for a few months. But the piece that I did a few months ago just came to my house in a box, like the finished product. So that's really cool to have that loop of starting on one and one coming back to the house and one going out. And
it's like sending your kids off to college and then they come back and they have a PhD.
Yeah. It's
that's
so
cool.
hard because you don't really know what's going to hit, right? You can. Right. You can do all your homework in terms of like, I've researched the subject matter. I think this is a cool idea. I've put together to the design. Like I've worked hard on making the drawing right. Like, you can put all that stuff together, but until you put it out into the world and get that feedback from an audience, you don't know if it's going to connect with someone or not. Although we're with the social media and stuff, like I share a lot of my process, so I can kind of tell a little bit ahead of time that like, oh, this is something that people are really, really digging or.
That's cool. Do you find that social media, obviously financially might not be the most equitable right now as was your convention days, but do you find that a little bit quicker on the feedback and helps you inform things?
Oh, it's almost immediate. And when I do just the fine art stuff for myself, I almost use, because I'm so prolific with the drawings. I'll do, in the course of a week, I'll do a few drawings. And if I post those up and one is just crazy far and away, really popular with people, then I turn that into a painting. So I kind of have my own market feedback of like, oh, do you guys like this? Do you like this? And then like the one that really, really hits, I go, okay, then I'll, the one that's really popular, I'll put the time into, turning into a painting. And then, really knowing, cause a little bit, I don't know, it kind of feels like, I know this is connecting with people. If I take the time to make it a larger scale painting, like that's not going to be wasted time. Like people are already connecting to it, so they'll connect to the painting as well. And I think that the drawing you had shown just not too long ago is actually behind me as a painting right there.
My gosh, so, that's so cool.
Yeah, so that's what happened with that piece is for sure is that that picture of the girl with the mask like really was popular on social media. I think it has like 20,000 likes or something on Instagram. And so, so then you go, okay, well that's a no-brainer. That's going to become a painting.
Yeah, that piece is really striking for its composition. It's when you sit and research the subject matter. I don't know what research went into that particular piece. But just the cutting off the hidden details, and then the really realistic taxidermy mask.
Yes,
man, it's so striking.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite pieces of yours.
Thank you.
We are getting a few comments coming in, so. Matt Campbell, he's a huge fan and loves seeing your work.
Thanks, Matt.
And then Andre Lewis, definitely need a horror film Comic-Con here in Colorado. Well, Andre, we actually, Stephen you might not be aware of this, but COFOH Live Undead is in support of Colorado Festival of Horror, and so technically, we hope to have a lot of artists when we can actually have a physical event. So
Sure.
hopefully we can get Stephen Russell Blackout, sometime. If we're ever able to have a physical event, we'll see what this year brings. Everybody's playing things by ear, and then John says, "What's up, Mr. Black?"
Hi, John.
So you got a few fans chiming in. You mentioned earlier that once you saw Bernie Wrightson's work, who's just amazing, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. I think he passed away a few years ago.
Yep.
What really kind of drew you into his work?
Just the composition and the rendering. Like, I'm a huge design nerd, so like the first thing on the page is like really like the design of the page for me, and then because it's kind of that the thing of I don't know if you've heard this before, like 30 feet, 3 feet, 3 inches. So
right.
if you're 30 feet away from a painting, you're like, oh, there's something exciting about it, but that excitement just comes from design because you don't really see maybe necessarily what's happening in the picture yet. And then when you get 3 feet away from it, there's like another reward of like, oh, okay, I see what these things are, and I'm still intrigued by the story. And then when you're 3 inches away, there's like a ton of rendering or some sort of technique that like keeps you engaged even more. And so it kind of an image is rewarding from all those levels. And Bernie's work is definitely rewards you for getting up close to it. And if you see it from far away, you just want to know what's going on. So he fulfills all of those things. And I just love the creepy bits, and so.
Oh yeah. There's so much texture and so much flow going on too. To me it also with the rules that you just stated, kind of harkens to like the golden rectangle as well. Which just starts circling you in and drawing your eye. Watching how it flows over and where the viewer goes with that. What other artists really inspired you?
Yeah, so growing up in Ohio, I actually went to when I went to Columbus College of Art and Design. I had two like really formative teachers for me, and one was C.F. Payne, who's a really popular illustrator. He does like Time magazine covers and things like that. I had Chris's class like a couple of years, and I was also the secretary of the illustration department. So I worked closely with Chris, like on coordinating shows and things and stuff. And so I got to not only take his class, but be more involved with him. And he's just incredible. Like the way he handles his business is just he's a illustrator's illustrator, and he's just like amazing about every step of the process. And then the other person who was super formative was I had a workshop class with John Palancar. I don't know if you're familiar with John's work, but he does a lot of sci-fi book cover stuff. And yeah, John was amazing. And
cool.
I'm still in touch with both of those people today. John is just like also in the horror, sci-fi fantasy kind of world.
Nice.
So that's kind of where I was in, kind of met the horror stuff again, like because I had kind of fallen off, and then like through like to the end of college I started to get back into what I was excited about again, and John definitely brought that back, and he introduced me to a bunch of other artists that are still formative to me now, like Giger and Gottfried Helvine, just a lot of dark painters and stuff, and I just love that aesthetic.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. The obviously Giger is quite a visual feast, but Godfrey. I don't know if too many people know him out there, but I think even worked with Marilyn Manson on some pieces too. So a lot of lot of texture and a lot of washes too.
Yeah,
It's incredibly moody and kind of puts you at alarm sometimes. So
sure.
that's I think that's really inviting. When work can be so beautiful, but at the same time, you're on guard. Uh, and I think that invites a little bit more of like what's the conversation and what might be the story that's going on there. So speaking of stories, you are putting out through Kickstarter a new book called 100 Monsters. Let me get that banner rolling, that ticker at the bottom. So there's Steven's website. Go there to purchase books, prints, and originals, and then visit. Take that URL and copy and paste that so you can go support his 100 Monsters book. What is that one about?
Oh, so every January,
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter promotes this thing that they call Make 100,
Mm.
and so it's like kind of a to get your feet wet kind of a thing for creatives to like just make 100 of whatever whatever thing that you're interested in, and it's kind of like a jump start to the year, and they do it every January. I think maybe this is the second or third year, and I've always thought it would be interesting to do. But again, with the conventions and things, it's sometimes I don't always jump into like all the projects that I might want to do through the course of the year because I know that convention season is coming around, so you kind of gear for that. But with that not happening this year, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to try the Make 100 this year. So, and of course, Make 100 Monsters.
That's so cool. When I think of your monsters, I think of like these visuals. This is another one of my favorite paintings of yours that you sent over. Is when you're talking monsters too, are you talking like more of the traditional stuff or?
No, it's gonna be all my my own making.
Oh, cool.
Of so kind of like that the piece that you saw. So my version of like making monsters like that is sorry, I'm gonna adjust. Is I kind of go down a path of like researching some aspect of science, and then I turn it into like a I always call it the science fact of the science fiction. Right.
Okay.
So
Cool.
so if I can get the science fact right, then you'll agree with me, right? And so the whole thing about like it's almost like an improv, like, hey, if I can get you to agree to this thing, and we're both on the same page, and you said yes, if I just tweak it a little bit, like maybe you'll follow along with me. So the husk piece that you just showed was kind of about octopuses can change their color and shape and things and stuff, right? And so I thought, like, what if he was trying to like, what if they could also merge into other creatures? And so he's trying to become human, but he's getting it wrong. He's getting it wrong because there's like multiple arms and like it's like kind of a thing. And I have another piece that's it's a kind of I'm blanking on the term now. Oh, cordyceps. So there's a mushroom that spawns and then grows in these insects, and it actually takes over their brain and has them like climb to the highest point wherever that insect is, and then when they die and the spores come out, like it produces more cordyceps. And so I had some of my images have come from that science fact, where a cordyceps and the idea of their life cycle and things like that I've tried to portray in drawings. And so I'm really fascinated by taking, I love science fiction and horror, but I think it's the best when you find like a science fact that you can kind of convey and people agree with, and then if you just tweak it a little bit, maybe you'll still come along with me. Maybe you'll follow, you'll follow the story.
That's cool. It doesn't, it kind of reminds me of something like this. When I look at this, like it seems like the poor top of the lady's head is molding away, or maybe this insect might have eaten it away. I don't know. I love the wings though.
Oh, thanks. That piece is called Sands of Time. So it's kind of like humanity blowing away in the wind, and this new odd creature like emerging, because the creature's kind of like a combination of several different things. There's like a part of aphid wings and And I'm kind of collaging and merging all different kinds of stuff. There's a grasshopper and with different kind of legs and different kind of stuff. So I love collaging and merging all kinds of different stuff together too, to kind of come up with something that feels new or different.
Man, it's absolutely so cool to see this. This one is one that I find incredibly striking, just because of the composition. It's really lovely and treacherous. This kind of reminds me of something that you would allude to for like a body horror novel or feature film.
Sure. That piece is called "Devil's Got Your Tongue."
Mm.
So, but I'm a huge sucker for just cutting things in half. Like I love to, as you saw in the previous couple of pieces, I love to draw like a beautiful face. And slice it in half and see what comes out, and or merge it with something else. Like that's just a fun thing to do. If I was a sculptor, which I'm not, I think it would be a blast to do the same stuff, or sculpt like a whole head and literally chop it in half and add chunks of things on and do different things. I keep thinking that I'm gonna sculpt one day. I just haven't found the time. I've collected all of the things.
Yeah.
My sculptor friends tell me like, well, you can't just get all the stuff, and it doesn't work by putting all the stuff in proximity next to each other. You have to put in the work.
Right.
But I do a show every year, except for not this year, called Monster Palooza, which is like a special effects industry show. And many people there are sculptors, and so every time I go, I get the bug to like want to sculpt something, and so I buy monster clay and the dental tools and like all the stuff. All the like industry stuff that people are using, I end up bringing back to my house like after the show, like more and more stuff. But I never find the time. I never find the time to do the sculpture. It's something I want to do like at some point.
The other thing too is like so many people sculpting in 3D are sculpting digitally. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of traditional artists, that have done it, with their hands and done the clay and the resins and everything like that. And now they're, they've adapted to, bringing on the laptop and doing the like ZBrush and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about, making that attempt?
No, but that's a low entry point kind of thing too, right? Because you can just load up the program and start picking around. That would be fun. I think the fun thing about ZBrush is that you can keep making the prints off of it, right? You can keep making the 3D prints, which is really cool because now sculptors, for the first time, they had other things where you could do silicone molds and casts and things, but as a painter, you can make a painting and then we can endlessly make prints from it, right? And then sculptors didn't really have that option as well. But I kind of feel like now with 3D printing, it's really cool because they have the option to like, I can print this 3D thing over and over.
Yeah, you can do it at home. You can, I think. There's some amazingly high-end, machines that can, do just exquisite, reproductions. Those are like the $100,000 machines, and then from that, cast off, just, thousands and thousands of multiples to sell. But yeah, that I thought, if that would be, an easy entry, point to doing, 3D sculpts, for illustrators, for people that, or graphic designers. It looks like Robert chimed in. Nature is a great source of inspiration for horror.
For sure.
Most definitely. A lot of terrifying things in nature. Pandemics, for one. So how, aside from, you not being able to go to shows and things like that, how else has, the current situation affected you?
I think that creative people in general maybe are a little not as impacted because I'd just be home drawing and painting like anyway. So, and then like kind of the last thing you're able to do is just to go grab like takeout or something, right? Like because most places are closed, but you can kind of that's kind of our outing around the house is like we we're like, oh, what restaurant are we gonna go to like on the weekend or whatever? Because like that's kind of like there's
Yeah.
no you can't really do much. But except for shows, the biggest impact is just I don't think it's impacted me as much because I'm just home drawing and painting all the time anyway. So it's not been, but I really miss traveling.
Yeah. 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 With Monster Palooza, I think isn't that near your neck of the woods?
It's Southern California, so I'm in Northern California, and
Oh, okay.
Monster Palooza is in LA. So it's like a 7 to 10 hour drive for me, depending on traffic.
Okay.
It's not very far away, but and before the pandemic, I found myself in LA a lot because I show in a lot of galleries there as well. So
Cool.
we would either ship things down or I would drive stuff down to galleries in LA. So a lot of business going back and forth.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, hopefully things will within the next year kind of balance out so that we can have that face-to-face camaraderie again.
Yep. Yeah, that's the only thing that I feel like is missing is you do stuff and you get a feedback loop online, but it really is much more meaningful to be in person and to hear someone say like I really follow you, your stuff is inspirational to me, and you really get the sense that it matters to someone.
Right. Right.
That feels really good to know that the stuff that you're putting out like is received and people love it, and so that kind of feedback loop in person like is much more meaningful than a like or a comment or thing, which are great too. But you just like
yeah,
that's
a like and a comment sometimes online just doesn't feel as personable. Yeah, it's as things kind of drag on, I kind of miss that, and that's why I do these shows, so I connect with my fellow human.
For sure. It's definitely a good stopgap. Like to try.
Yeah, most definitely. The some of your work too, like you were talking about how things kind of transition, not just like cutting things squarely in half. But absolutely, gorgeous, and a lot of the stuff is pretty fun. I think there's a great, this poor person, however, but it seems like a little bit of humor too. It's like, hey, this is why you feed your pets, so they do that to you.
That piece was the snake piece. Is like. It's called The Envy of Eve.
Okay.
And so Chris Velasco, who curated a show in LA, and he did picked a few different people to do the 7 Deadly Sins. And so that was a show at Capro in LA about and he just picked different artists to do their interpretation of the sins. And so I got Envy, and that was my piece for Envy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Then this one I absolutely. Love that one as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about why you composed this one?
So I'm into I guess people call it body horror.
Right.
I didn't know there was a term for it, but like things melding into other things or multiple limbs and different like I just love that aesthetic. It's just something that like that I'm drawn to, and the 3 eyes being eyes being the window to the soul, like and that one's called in German the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
And a lot of times I title pieces in German. I just think it like as a nice tie back to my heritage, and I just like the way it sounds, and so. Body horror is certainly a big theme, I think, throughout a lot of your work. I always find out these things after the fact. Like I was drawing a ton of octopus stuff, and people at conventions would tell me like, oh well, you're clearly into Lovecraft, right? You're clearly into Lovecraft, and I'd be like, no, I've never read it. Like I don't know any. So then I'll search out the thing that they recommend, and I'm like, oh okay, I see how you would see that this is part of that. But I wasn't a fan before, and the same with the body horror stuff. People would always say, "Oh, you're body horror, right?" And I'm like, "I guess so." Like, I didn't know, like, is it creepy to you? Like, I don't know what. And then I hadn't watched what is it called, the Cronenberger films.
The Cronenberg films, yeah. So like Videodrome, The Fly,
Yes.
that's a huge body horror
So
film.
I saw The Fly a long time ago. I hadn't realized that that was like Cronenberg, but then when I watched Videodrome, I was like, oh, okay, no, I totally get it. Yeah, this is my jam. Like, I totally, yeah, I'm into this.
Yeah, he's got a lot of his catalog of films, do deal with a lot of that, a lot of those themes, and some of the more existential things that go along with it, or like one, I think with the Fly, one of the analogies was dealing with not only body horror but becoming like a father, or big life changes, even like talking about the AIDS pandemic, which in the 80s was such a big thing that wasn't at that time wasn't really being discussed
Mm-hmm.
as much as it should. So yeah, it's I love Cronenberg because it's always very topical, and a lot of psychological things to just kind of munch on.
I also loved about him that he, like many creatives that I seek out, is I love how they go down their own rabbit hole of crazy, right? And they just like seemingly, and I think of it in terms of like coal mining, right? Like they go down this deep well of stuff that no one else is going down, and they find these beautiful gems of ideas, right? And then they bring them back up and they go, look what I found, like in this crazy place that no one was going to go. And Cronenberg felt like that to me. It felt like a very like breath of fresh air kind of thing, and like a creative thing that I hadn't seen before, but it kind of like was akin to the images and things that I was expressing in my work.
Right.
And then when people were like, "Oh, well, you love Cronenberg, right?" and I hadn't seen it, and so now that I've seen it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I get it. I get why you connected those dots, and yes, I do love it."
Yeah. As far as like filmmakers go, like Cronenberg, John Waters, who is one of those that always presented, sublime, tasteless, cinema. So like Pink Flamingos and things like that. They always present these ideas that you're right. Nobody else is going to do it. But they always find a way that find these hidden gems that nobody else would ever put out, nor think to.
Some of the like odd inspirations or things that like I pick up on is like so I'd seen a couple of David Lynch films, and there's something about it I really liked, and then I saw a film called Lynch on Lynch, which was just a few hours of like footage of David Lynch just doing stuff around set.
Okay.
I really fell in love with him when I saw this clip of him building he was carving something out of wood, and he was real obsessed with it for like 2 or 3 days, like carving this thing out of wood. Like I think it was a little horse or a little something, and then meticulously painting it. And it only showed up on screen for like 2 or 3 seconds or something, So it was like not completely not consequential to the film whatsoever. But the video that I saw was him just obsessively making this thing because he had to have it, like, and I was like, yes, like I want to go down the rabbit hole with you, like I'm in. I want to see all the films. I want to like know all the stuff about you, like this. Yes, so good.
He's well, and he himself comes from a fine art background too, so he's always one of those guys that's incredibly fascinating, because you sit there and watch his films, and they do tend to be very painterly. There's always a composition and to it, and it's never, like, in terms of like concept and presentation, it's never boring.
Right.
No matter what your preference or your taste is, sometimes it's hard to get through some of his films.
I think it's tough for a lot of American audiences because he has more of a sort of a Japanese aesthetic where it's like you just want to build a world, and feel like you're living in that world for a specific amount of time.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to have a
Like that.
like move from point to point. Like, oh, there's this character, and then this happens to him, and there doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-act structure to the storytelling.
Right.
Like
Right.
they just want to create a believable world that you get to live in for a certain amount of time. And I think he totally has that, where you fall into this completely other like world. At least I get that from him. So and that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, some of his more encapsulating films that I really gravitate towards is like Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, and of course the Twin Peaks series. The original Twin Peaks, and then the Showtime, the season that was on Showtime. I think that might be his most recent project, but that was something that it wasn't. Obviously he's grown as an artist, and so his tools for storytelling have changed, and I think the first time I watched the season, it's just like it's just not clicking. There were moments that were just magnificent, and then it lost my attention. But I always knew, with a Lynch film or a Lynch project, I've got to revisit it. There's going to be something else that's going to be more of a meal that I just didn't pick up on.
Although sometimes like from the new one, I know he fought really hard to get complete creative control over the Showtime series.
Right.
And in the original series, he had some editors and a co-writer, right?
Right.
And I feel like when he's left to his own devices, he suffers a little bit from a lack of editing. And so I feel like when he has a co-writer or is reined in a little bit, he presents it feels like he presents the ideas and people people pull him aside and go, David, what are you trying to say? And they they kind of rein him in. But when he's left to just go crazy, and a great example is in the Showtime series, there was an episode that was 2 hours that was almost wordless, that just showed Kyle MacLachlan turning slowly into
I
dust,
remember that.
and then goes into a light socket. I think that's the episode. It's like 2 hours. It's wordless and like it's beautiful to watch. Like it was amazing. Like it's but someone watching that for 2 hours like without a word. It's a little.
I totally get it. Yeah, at that point it becomes kind of an art installation. It's you might want to just watch it with wine.
Right.
But I think too back in the 90s he did a family film. I want to say Disney distributed it too. That's actually one of the most endearing film projects and closest thing to straightforward commercialism other than the Dune movie that he did. But it is also incredibly endearing and so heartfelt. So I find that he has a lot of untapped range, and you might be right. As long as he has those people in place to help tool and kind of corral him a little bit, some amazing things can be done. It kind of reminds me too of like when Lucas was doing the prequels, and everybody seemed to be afraid to say no to George.
Right.
It's like, and clearly he needed some no's. Looks like Robert chimed in. I love seeing your progress shots when you're drawing because of the way you set us with the normal part of your drawing, and then you reveal the horrific part. Keeps me stopping by your page. You have a stalker. I know where that guy lives, just in case.
I had a very specific. I'm glad that he says that, and I've heard that from some other people. And I had a very specific strategy when I started Instagram, was to start the drawing in the morning, and it would only show what I call the science parts of the science fiction. So it would be like a plain, I just start to draw like a beautiful woman's head or something, but there'd be no creepy bits yet. And that would be the start in the morning, and I'd post that. And then later in the afternoon, as I started to like dive into the creepy stuff, like I would show how it was, I'd show another progress picture on Instagram, and that would kind of delve into um, the creepy stuff. And then in the evening, I would post the final drawing, and I'd post it for sale. For a period, I did that for 75 days in a row,
Cool.
where I completed an 11 by 17 drawing every day.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome.
It was a big push, but it worked to like build a social media following and audience. That was like my main strategy for doing that, and
Cool.
and it was fun, and it kept people coming back to be like, they would literally like comment like, oh, what's gonna happen to it, but like, I gotta come back later, like, and to see. So I kept people coming back, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and I still do that, and I still get a huge kick out of starting something very simply and innocently, right? Like there's just there's a young lady walking. What's going to happen to her? And then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. It's a wonderful, hook to bring people in. By doing that too, do you do they become participants in the art of or the storytelling of the art?
Like in terms of has someone's comments influenced like where I took something?
Right.
I don't know if that's the case, because I think a lot of times I'm posting ahead of myself,
Oh, okay.
Because so I'm already farther ahead than you see what I've been working on. But during the live time, maybe once or twice there'd been someone who was like, oh, you should do this or that, and just that idea in the back of your head kind of, you might say, no, I'm not gonna like draw something just because somebody blurted it out, but then it might have stuck, and so later you're like, oh, that is a good idea, like I should do that. Is good. Like, so I'm sure there's been a couple of times that's happened.
Nice. John came back. Your art is always very, very inspiring.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any projects that with your schedule and the workload that you're constantly putting out? Is there just some projects that you haven't got to that really sticks with you?
So I started picking at I want to do a Zodiac series.
Oh, cool.
So just the 12 pieces, 12 drawings, and then I'll turn those into larger scale paintings. And then we'll do like a print set or something. I'm kind of envisioning it as. And I've started those drawings. I have like 3 or 4 finished pieces, and I have sketches for the rest of them.
Nice.
And then I've always wanted to do a tarot deck too. So
cool.
Depending on how long this quarantine goes on,
right,
more progress will be made in both of those endeavors. But I'm really excited about the covers, and having been I keep going back to that, but having not have the feedback loop of going to conventions, like to actually work for a company and feel like I'm helping them, and I get that feedback loop of like talking to the art director or the editor, whoever's commissioning me for the piece. Like I feel like it's feels like a little more community, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like part of the team in a way, and it's like it's all that kind of stuff like helps a little bit when you're a little more isolated.
Right.
I love doing my own work, and that's kind of like I'll always do that. But the covers have been really fun, and that's kind of like occupying a lot of my time lately is to do the covers for comics.
That's cool. Can you share with us, like some other, comic book covers that you have in the works or is coming out?
I have a couple of things that are already finished that I can't talk about.
Okay. Don't talk about them. I don't want to get you in trouble.
But the piece behind me is like, and Scout actually has been really cool about just letting me share progress. They don't have like a lockdown on stuff. But I recently did some work for a role-playing game, card game.
Nice.
I can't talk about, but has not come out yet. But people will know what I'm talking about when I say a role-playing trading card game. So that'll come out hopefully by the end of the year. And I think it's scheduled for end of 2021. So that'll be fun to finally reveal. But so it's a few different illustration clients like this year, not only the comic book stuff, but some other things that just are in the pipeline. But I finished my work, but the actual product hasn't come out yet, so I can't share it. But but the covers are super fun. I always like when I was a kid. I always say my two favorite presents that I was given that made a huge impact on me was my mom brought me some Fantastic Four comics, and
cool.
and my dad got me a box of Rembrandt oils, and like those two things are like so made a big impact on me. Like I love comics and I love painting, and so now that I get to do painted covers for these companies is like kind of the fulfilling of that those two things when I was a kid. Get like those two gifts that were like a huge impactful thing for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I absolutely love it when parents, can really support, what your kids do too, especially at such an early age.
Yep.
The one thing I'd love to see for you one day is to see you your body horror take on some superheroes.
Oh, yeah. Well, if the covers keep going well, hopefully more and more of that stuff will come in. I wouldn't say no to a Swamp Thing. Or,
right. I love Swamp Thing.
Yeah, it's like that's a lot of people have their list of like, oh, I want to draw Batman. I want to draw like they have like their list of characters that they would want to work on, and mine tend to be like the B-level people. Like I want to do Swamp Thing. I love John Constantine. So like any of the like Hellblazer stuff or Doctor Strange is okay, but he's like kind of too frilly for me. Like I love Constantine's just like super down to earth, and I would paint the shit out of some Hellblazer covers.
Yes.
So if anybody's listening, I would love to do some more.
Yeah, come on, DC, let's go. Hire my friend Steven. Damn it. I would love to see Swamp Thing and John Constantine, done by you, or
the other one I love is Dead Man. People.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just because the emaciated like figure, I love that character too.
Well, when it comes to Dead Man, like the emaciated version that like Kelly Jones, where his costume is just dangling off his skin is absolutely gorgeous. I could see you doing that. I mean, because you've got that fluidity of fabrics and motion in those kind of monolithic poses too, that I think would be absolutely striking. I would if it was your art on that cover, I'd buy it cover. So
awesome.
That's pretty cool.
The cover I think you showed a little earlier of the Atlantis piece of the guy coming out of the water.
Right.
I like Eric's work so much that I signed on to do a full issue of that. So.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be doing sequentials?
Yes.
Wow! I cannot wait to see that. When you haven't started on that, have you?
I have Eric's script, and I've started the breakdowns. So I'm kind of deciding how I want to do the finishes. Because I want a lot of tone and value in there, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna just do an ink and digital color thing or if I'm gonna do some washes or what. But so for right now, I'm just doing everything in the breakdowns, and then I'm gonna do traditional graphite kind of pages, and then we might layer some more stuff on top of it. It won't be fully painted, but just ink and color probably for now. But
that's cool. I can't wait to see that.
Thanks.
Yeah, looks like Robert just chimed back in. I'm ready to blackmail you now, Steven. LOL.
Robert's seen some of the behind-the-scenes pieces that I'm not able to show. Like, because you show your friends like a couple of things like, hey, don't show this, but this is coming out, like kind of stuff. Friend DA, right? Like there's you sign ND non-disclosure agreements, but then
the
there's
FDA.
Then there's like the friend DA where you're like, hey, I'm showing you this, but don't really tell anybody about this.
Yeah. No, I'm usually pretty good about that because I forget it right away. I'm pretty absent-minded.
Yeah.
But Cool. Yeah, Stephen, it's been fantastic having you on and chatting about your work and for everybody that's out there, just a reminder, make sure to go to his website stephenrussellblack.com for books and prints and originals, and make sure to copy and paste the URL in the ticker below to support Steven's 100 Monsters Kickstarter running through January, right?
Yep. It'll be finished end of January, and we're doing I'm doing live drawings of all the creatures going forward. So the first one I finished and put up as a sample, but all 100 will be live streamed and time lapse of the creation of the characters. So I'll be posting all of those through the rest of the month.
Wow, yeah. If you want to get to know your process, yeah, definitely everybody should tune in. Mm-hmm. And man, that's going to be. How long does it take you to draw? Because you're still drawing 11 by 17s, right?
These are going to be 11 by 14, but it's pretty close to the same size. And the drawing takes me. It's deceptive because I've been drawing for forever, and I'm probably faster than people who are like very curious about the exact time. Is that drawings take me 3 to 6 hours only. So.
Okay.
But that's spread out over, you pick something up and you pick at it, and then, you put it down and come back and forth to different projects and things. And I'm painting and then jumping back to the drawing. But typically drawings take me 3 to 6 hours. Okay,
cool. So potentially people could be, having a peek inside of your creative life for 3 to 6 hours at a time.
Yes.
Oh, man. Make sure you wear pants, sir.
People are saying that it's hard. The marketing part of like the art job is hard, but it's really like you're already doing the stuff. If you just take pictures along the way and kind of relay the story to people, I think we've had it the easiest of any other creative like person in any time in history. Just being able to like, hey, I'm in the middle of this painting. You stop for a second, take a picture, share it with everyone, and so a lot of people have get to follow along the creative process of a piece from beginning to end. Like. You never had access like that before. It's
right. I think a lot of people are especially are curious naturally of the creative process in general, but everybody's who works in the arts, they all have their own processes and kind of quirks and everything. So I think it's always exciting to see how people work, and it's always also inspiring, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I know when I was a kid, like you would hunt through every like magazine when there was an article about a how-to, right? You would like you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get that new magazine because it's got writes this process or somebody's process. And these days, when you're following somebody on social media, you get to kind of see all that stuff unfold daily. So it's really cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Stephen, we're just about out of time. I want to, thank you for being so generous with your time and coming on and chatting about all the cool stuff that you do. It's very inspiring and makes me want to get back to the drawing board a little bit more. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. And, for everybody out there, just one more little message. This weekend, we've got Screen Screens, all you can eat with the Denver, film. So visit denverfilm.org and go to the virtual cinema link, and you'll see this wonderful marathon of films with horror movies that all pertain to eating in some capacity. I think they're all surprises, so definitely go there and check them out. It's a marathon. It's online, and it's through Denver Film and Screen with Teresa Mercado. So anyway, Steve, again, thanks for your time, and for everybody out there, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Alien Donut Films, my sponsors, Bill and Angela, and to my producers, Stefan Santa Cruz and Amanda Armstrong. Hope you guys are doing okay. Everybody else out there, Be good. Take care of each other. Look out for each other during this pandemic and crazy political times. Oh my God. We love you. Have a good night. Steve, go ahead and stick around for a minute.
Right on. Thank you.